Hi, and welcome to another episode of Leadership and Lattes, the podcast about leadership and character. And I'm Bill Montgomery here with a good, longtime friend of mine. I'm not going to say how far we go back because that will betray our age to both of us. But want to introduce you to a great friend, Brent Long. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Great to be here. Great topic. I love everything about this so far.
It's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
for sure. You've talked a little bit about leadership and character in your life. A little bit. A few folks, maybe written about it.
Yep.
Done your own podcast about it. We'll have to make sure at the end let people know where they can follow you.
Sure.
If they want to get some more information. But we've been having a good time this season of the show, just establishing some leadership or character traits that we think are important, whether they're for young and up and coming leaders or seasoned leaders, wherever they might be on the spectrum, because I think being a lifelong learner is important.
Oh, yeah.
I know we can always learn more, whether we're doing something well or not. So let's maybe start there and give me some thoughts on what do you think is an important defining leadership or character trait for somebody that wants to be recognized as a leader.
Yeah, I think there's another L. To me, there's another L that comes in. I know this is leadership and lattes, but I've been thinking about this a little bit. I think there's another L that we need to consider at a whole new level, and I would call that the leadership trait of love. Right? Love, I come from a football background. I come from a performance background, and loving someone enough to pull out of them their full potential means we don't always have to tolerate what it is that they're doing, but we have to love them through that. And as a leader who can express love, I can tell you what that does to a team. I can tell you how that melds a team, how it brings a culture of a team together, how it helps an individual perform at a high level. If that person understands that they are going to be led with love, then they are not playing tight, we would say, right?
Yeah.
They're playing within their wheelhouse. And the culture that they are now becoming a part of is one where we do expect you to grow, because I love you so much that we're going to help you grow.
Yeah.
But I also love you to the point where we're not going to punish you for making a common mistake along your trajectory of growth.
Wow.
And so I focus a lot on the concept of leadership at a loving level to help people get better at what they do.
It's interesting because when I think we talk about leadership traits, even as you say that, while it almost just feels like a no-brainer, I feel like that's not one that is listed regularly, as something that people need to, ascribe to, yet it almost seems core to almost anything else that you do.
Well, it's often overlooked because it's often misunderstood. Like love often, is something, well, I agree with them. I'm going to tolerate that, or I'm whatever. No, love says, I'm going to call you to a higher standard. There were many times in the scriptures where Jesus interacted with somebody. He might have dealt with an issue that they were dealing with. And before he left them, he loved them enough to say, go and sin no more. Don't keep doing that again. Don't keep doing that over and over and over again. He's calling out of them a higher level of expectation. You want to be a follower of mine, then you let go of that behavior, that attitude, that heart condition, whatever that is, and you can continue to follow me, but you're going to have to let that go. And I love you enough to speak that into you at the time.
So as you think about that, because again, I think we're even maybe breaking away from what people's traditional definitions of love might be. Maybe unpack how you would define love in this context, being that, I've heard that, in other languages, there will be many different words for the word love, where we kind of have one word, but many definitions of that. So maybe unpack that a little bit from a leadership level.
Yeah, so leadership, let's think about it from some of my past as a football coach. I love the fact that you're on my team, but I do not like what you did on that play. I do not like that attitude you're bringing to the locker room. And I love you enough to let you know that one-on-one, because I'm going to expect more out of you coming in the future. Now, that individual just got spoken to in his identity, not necessarily in his role, but in his identity. I love the fact that you're part of my team. I love the fact that you are alive, well, that you're a human. I love who you are. I'm going to expect that to come at a little bit of a higher level. I'm going to expect you to put more effort into that, because I don't like the mindset that you're showing up with, but I do love you. See, if we take that and we extrapolate that out into the marketplace at a higher level, we're dealing with very large children who are now adults who have not been loved like that for a long time in their life. So I'm really glad and thankful and grateful that you're on my team. And because of that, as your leader, I'm going to expect a little bit more out of you because I don't like the level that you're playing at right now.
So I'm guessing that in a leadership context, if I am attempting to be loving, that actually could involve more confrontation and not less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might be hitting a hot button of yours.
Yeah. So, and I think as a leader, I think that's part of the challenge of a leader or leadership is we're going to let that slide. We're not going to go there. And suddenly we wake up, 2 or 3 months later, or maybe 6 months later, say, what has happened to the culture of our team? Well, the culture of our team says there are people who are really, really high performers, and they don't want to work with the other people who are skating by and not being confronted. All right, so typically the high-performing individual, doesn't matter what it is, musically, athletically, whatever it is, they have a standard that they want everybody to perform at if they're going to be on the same team.
Yes.
Okay, if the leader is not confronting those who are not pulling their weight, the high performers will be the ones who will be the first frustrated ones. They'll be the ones that get most frustrated. Right? And so if you want to pull everybody up, then you have to understand that sometimes leadership means I got to get in a little bit deeper. I got to do a little bit more encouraging confrontation early on to set the tone so that later on we don't have to deal with so many of these issues. And oftentimes leaders do that backwards.
Hey, Leadership and Latte listeners, have you discovered Dolce Sweets? They're made in Ashland, Ohio, and they're redefining what it means to give with purpose. This is great, delicious chocolate with a purpose. Their handcrafted chocolates are nostalgic. They aren't just treats, they're meaningful gifts that bring people together. I know I've given more than I can count, and everybody loves them. And they know that they feel loved and cared for. And here's a sweet deal for Leadership and Latte listeners. Get 20% off any business gift assortment with the code LL20 at DolceSweets.com. That's DULCI Sweets.com. Dolce Sweets, goodness created to be shared.
So I took over a team, you're familiar, I took over a team years ago. We had about 35 people that were reporting directly to me. There were another 5 people, 35 outbound producers. There were another 5 people that were kind of in a support structure. The entire team had about 100 and some people on it, right? And I took over this team, and my first interaction with my specific team was, I love you. I am your new leader. I love you. I have been praying for you for the last 3 months before I met any of you. Okay?
Wow.
And I just want you to know that my love for you will not pay any of your bills. Now,
That's fair.
I love you. You're on the team. My job is to help you all elevate your level of performance because I really love you enough that I would love to see you pay all your bills on time and have some left over. And I'm going to love you very firmly to get you to that point. It was very quiet in the room. But as the months unfolded and the months unfolded and the months unfolded, it was amazing what started to happen.
Well, because I imagine from that point forward, you have to daily prove that that love to them that says, here's what it's not, here's what it is. But if you allow me to love you in a way that holds you accountable to the behaviors that I'm asking, these other things will be the result.
The other things are going to fall into place.
Yeah.
I can tell you that there was one time at a full staff meeting, a very large full staff meeting, that I found out that my team was responsible for the fact that nobody else in the organization got their profit sharing check. And I called a meeting. That staff meeting was over with. I called a meeting. We closed all the doors. There are no other leaders in the room. And I said to my team, that's the last time anybody's going to badmouth my team in front of anybody else. I love you enough that we will get to a level of performance where nobody will ever be able to say that about you again. And my team, they stood up for that. They responded to that. And it wasn't long before that team was outperforming what I had inherited, because they felt like the truth and love. Love is firm. Love is tough. Love has got some in it, right? And so we have to live that out. And I think oftentimes leaders are afraid to go down that path because they really don't know how involved it's going to be.
When I hear that, I think, for somebody that says, I don't want to be confrontational. I want to just let you be you, and I want to, do that, which I think sometimes the heart is right in that. But how loving is it to have somebody continue in their job, for a company maybe to not continue to get their profit sharing checks, and for that person not to take the money home that they could if they just would follow certain steps and be able to, that seems a lot less loving.
Here's an outcome of that. I had a wife of one of my employees at the time invite me over to her house with her husband and their 5 boys for dinner.
Wow.
At the dinner meal, she announced to her boys, "This is the man who loves your father and has helped him provide all of this for our family." Now, I didn't ask for any of that. That's what happened. And she would invite me over multiple times, and she would make a point of letting her 5 young boys in that house know that there was a man who loved their dad so much that their dad was getting better and better and better at what he did. She would bake cupcakes and have him bring them to the office.
Wow.
And once that whole turnaround and restructure and everything was done, I actually helped him start his own business. Long after he was no longer reporting to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, that would because he would reach out because he knew that I loved him enough to tell him the truth about his possibilities of starting a business. But the leader has to earn that. The leader can't just show up and say, "Follow me, trust me." Like those are last words for a leader to say. You guys can trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me on this, right? As soon as a leader says, "Just trust me on this," everybody's going to start questioning whether that leader has right intentions or not. But if the leader shows up and says something to the effect that, "I am so glad you're on this team. I love the fact that you're here, but that's not going to pay your bills. So we're going to have to elevate performance in order to get to that point."
Wow. Sounds like something I think I've heard you say where, people are performing at a certain level and it's not doing the things they want. And you just go, "Well, how's that working for you?
How's that working out for you, right? I'm not getting what I want out of life, but I'm unwilling to put anything else into it. Well, how's that going to work out?"
Yeah.
Right. And we're all guilty. I'm guilty.
100%.
I do it myself. I need people, leaders in my life, mentors in my life, coaches in my life who love me enough to call me out on something because I'm just as guilty as anybody else. Right. But if I recognize that, then it's like, I would say it this way. I've never been in a situation where anybody was legitimately encouraged too much. If it's legitimate, nobody's ever been overly encouraged. "Oh, I can't handle any more encouragement. Please back off. Please back off." No, that's never happened. Never happened. Well, then why can't the leader demonstrate that in an office environment or on a team environment? Like I really love this about what you're doing, and I think that here's an area that you can improve. See that the quote unquote the lover is going to speak the truth into that situation, whatever that situation is. But they're going to have to be in proximity enough to see behavior close enough to say, "Pull your arms in, pull your elbows in. I'm going to get you to run faster." You can't do that from far away. And so then the idea is, do I care enough to get involved in their life at a level where I can have an impact on their performance and they know they're safe with me because they know I love them?
So kind of a follow-up question to all of that. Let's say I'm a leader and I recognize I have not been getting the best out of my team. And I've been there 1 year, 5 years, 20 years. And I recognize, that's going to be a big shift. How do I hit the reset button on that in a way that also doesn't alienate everybody, if that's possible?
It is possible. I've had to do it twice in my life that I can think of off the top of my head, but I've had to do it a couple of times, and that is the leader has to learn how to use the F word, forgiveness. The leader has to learn how to say, "Please forgive me. I was not doing what I needed to be doing as a leader, and I let you skate for a while. And that's going to change because now I love you better than I ever did before. So please forgive me for letting that happen."
Wow.
See, the leader is the leader. The leader's responsible for the culture. One of the things I say to business owners and leaders on a regular basis is you have a culture in your company. It's either accidental or it's intentional, but there is a culture there. And if it's accidental and people are getting away with stuff and you're not getting where you need to be as a leader, then you need to apologize for being a weaker leader than you need to be so that you can step up your game. And the forgiveness, asking for forgiveness will be the reset button. It's amazing what can happen when your team that you're leading or the employees or your team members, whatever, get an apology from their leader.
Wow. Probably not something they're used to seeing.
Not something they're used to seeing. It has to be followed up, though, by an authentic change in the leader. Because you can't just say, forgive me for that, and then go back to ignoring the issues.
And just expecting that they'll somehow magically change on their own and you don't.
It's not human behavior. It's not human nature, human behavior. That's not how humans behave. So the idea is they have to see an authentic change in the leader, and the forgiveness has to be real and true. Like, I have to really mean it when I say, I'm really sorry. I let you down. I did not lead you well. That's going to change now, today, because I love you more today than I did yesterday. I mean, I'm overusing the word love, but that's what you're communicating that to them.
Sure.
We do this with our children.
I was thinking the same thing. That's really what parenting is all about.
You're just parenting very large children that somebody else may or may not have parented in corporate America.
Yeah.
By the time you get to them as a leader, they may or may not have been parented this way. Okay, well then you got to figure out, how do I incorporate that lack of whatever onto my team, and do I confront that in a very loving, kind, nice way? And sometimes the most loving thing that we can do is, you know what? I'm not sure you're ever going to fit. So how about I care about you enough to help you get a reassignment? In this team that I took over, I had a gentleman who probably really shouldn't have been there. And I got close enough to him as his leader to understand his heart, what he really wanted to do. Right now, he is pastoring a church in Texas because that's who God created him to be.
So in loving him out of that place, it's actually loved him into a place where he should be, and
Where he's
thriving.
flourishing, thriving, and flourishing. And had I not been there and he had expressed that desire to another leader, he would have been fired. Versus encouraged and helped and encouraged and helped and whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I appreciate, which I'm not surprised, your willingness to bring maybe something from a different angle, because I feel like that's a hallmark of Brent Law. Is you
Sometimes.
yeah. And I say that in a tremendous way, a good way of just how you come to the marketplace with some different thoughts and different ideas, and so I'm grateful for that. If folks are interested in maybe hearing more, or following you in any way, what's a good way for them to either reach out or follow maybe some things that you've got going on?
They can hit longonlife.com. That's one place and there's little forms on there. They can sign up for a free newsletter or whatever they want. They can hit saltysalestraining.com. We're getting ready to launch a Salty Sales Training Academy on that website, and so they can sit there and get some information that way as well. There's a YouTube channel out there somewhere. I don't even know what it is. It's probably Be Long on Life or Brent Long on Life, something like that YouTube channel, where just some of these crazy random thoughts get captured in video and thrown out as well. But probably longonlife.com would be the main place to go.
Great. Yeah. Just saw one of those random YouTube things on being provocative this week. So
it was a provocative rant.
It really was.
It was a video called The Provocative Rant.
Oh,
yes.
I love it.
And we don't often look at the way we use language today. And like you said earlier, the whole concept of love. We have one word for it, and it's defined multiple ways. In the real life, there's multiple words for it, but it's all one thing.
Yeah. So good. Brent, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Take care, my friend.
All right. God bless you.